Alright, so here's the deal. Basically, I kind of got tired of doing the videos. It's a lot of work. It's cold here in New Hampshire. It's just barely above freezing. It's like 40 degrees, sometimes 30. So yeah, it's definitely pretty cold. I ended up doing the back half of the vehicle first. I decided to do the back half because that's where like your emergency brake is, like if you're parked on a hill, stuff like that. So when you're doing the front of the vehicle work, it's better to have the back of the vehicle emergency brake on. Yeah, so I got the fucking drums done. Brand new bearings, brand new shocks, uh, brand new brakes, brand new pads, all that bullshit. Um, it was a pain in the ass. Fucking hurt my hands along the process. Um, yeah, basically when you do it, you want to do like you want to start at the lower half of the vehicle, right? You want to take apart the brakes. You want to take apart the suspension assembly, all that stuff. I'll actually probably go back and like show you specifically which order you want to like take the bolts out, because I kind of just skipped over all that. But basically, when you're on the inside of the trunk, you've got a little rubber grommet, right, for your shocks on the top. So after you completely remove it on the bottom, go to the top, and then you remove the front two bolts, like the nuts, right? And then from there, you're able to wiggle the sound barrier out. It's just a little rubber grommet that goes on top. You get that out, and then you can stick your socket in there and go to the very back. It's kind of interesting. The whole entire time I was doing it, I had just barely enough space to have my socket set in there. So I was very surprised. I wasn't using any extensions whatsoever. The inside of it was like a 14. Yeah, it's like a 13, maybe 11. For the things, it's been a second. I'm a little bit tired. So, yeah, I think the hardest part about all of it is putting the brake pads back together, and the emergency brake back together. That's literally the hardest part of the whole entire thing. Honestly, it like truthfully, that is the hardest part, is putting those fucking drums back together. They suck. Um, Love calipers, which going to the front, it's gonna be so much easier. Just gotta undo the bottom bolts, and then from there I can swing up the caliper like holders, and then they just pop right off, and then like you can take off the fucking brake pads from there, and then you just undo the two bolts on the backside, and then you can take off the front caliper and shit like that. But before you go doing all of that stuff, you want to make sure that you break those. Well, I mean, if you're doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna be doing the axles, so you're gonna want to break that axle nut first. Make sure that you got that shit. So break the axle nut, then go in and start to remove all the stuff in the front. We're gonna be dropping down the sway bar and all that bullshit, and the subframe. Literally, you have to drop down 3 bolts of the subframe in order to get the rack and pinion out. Yeah, so we're going to be doing brand new steering column, which is called the rack and pinion. We're going to be doing brand new pinion ends, brand new shocks, brand new rotors, like bearings, brand new rotors. shocks, brand new brake pads, brand new hardware for the brakes, brand new calipers. Oh man, yeah, I forgot. Brand new calipers, both sides. So here's one side. I'm gonna show you. And it comes with new hardware too. Oh yeah. That's sexy. I think that's the dinner. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get that all hooked up and then we'll basically connect it up to, you know, the lines and stuff like that. From there, we'll just have the brake thing open at the very top, and we'll pump the brakes, and we'll have to bleed out the calipers, make sure that there's no air bubbles. That shit sucks. My main concern is getting the parts on the vehicle. With the parts being on the vehicle, it's a lot cheaper for me to just take it to somebody else and have them like fine tune that shit, you know. So like after I do the rack and pinion and all that other bullshit, it's gonna need alignment. But hey, wonderful news! As I'm buying the brand new tires for this car, $600 later, almost seven, another like stack of money. Yeah, so after basically another $600, they're all like, hey, for $15, we'll give you an alignment. So it's perfect. I need to have the rack and pinion in before the alignment. I need to have all these brand new parts in. And so my deadline is Friday. It's a lot of work. So just the rack and pinion itself is usually like a 2-day process is what people usually say. I'm going to be doing all of this in like a day and a half. I don't know, like it took me 2 days to do the back, you know, a day for each side. And that's because I'm partially a chauffeur and I take care of animals, you know, so I'm stopping to take care of the animals, I'm stopping to take someone to work, stopping to pick someone up from work and take them home, you know, doing errands like running and getting parts. So like these things kind of take out of the time of the day for me to do things. So for the back half, it took me a day for each thing. Realistically, I just did the back half of the driver's side, and I did it in an hour and a half. So, you know, it's not really like time consuming that much for all that work that I did. It was a lot of work, but like think about it, it was an hour and a half each side. You know, 2 hours for the first half because I was trying to figure shit out. Because it's been a long time since I've worked on cars. I know what I'm doing, but it's been a while, so I'd like to refresh my brain and go, oh, okay, this, and this. So yeah, I did the back half first, and I turned off the vehicle, turned it on. I killed the battery on purpose, used a little jumper pack to restart it, and that basically reset the computer and everything. From there, my ABS light turned off, my rear brake light, which is wonderful. I'm gonna actually show you that here in a minute, because that's really, really good shit. That means I'm in the right step. So I'm gonna show you guys that part real quick. Here we are, 108,000 miles. I have no light there. Now that brake light is on because I have the emergency brake light on. Emergency brake on. So I'm gonna go ahead and release that. And there you go, that brake light just turned off. Now that means that the bearings that are in the front are good and they're working properly, which is wonderful news if I wanted to save some money and be a cheap bastard and not replace them right now. But I am not gonna do that. I already have the parts, you know, I've got the calipers, I've got the struts, I've got the rack pinion, I've got the bearings, like the assemblies, I've got the axle assembly, so I've got all that good shit that, like, you're gonna want to replace anyways. It's getting old. Like, a lot of this stuff, as I was going through it, I'm like, if people actually replace this, I'm like, this is getting rusty. It needs to be replaced soon. Otherwise, it's not going to pass. And this is basically what the inspection place said. Is they're all like, hey, your your struts are shot, man. Like, they're all rusted out. Like, I showed you guys my back struts, I believe. I'll show you my front ones. They're even worse. Yikes. But I got brand new ones. So it's gonna be fucking wunderbar. Very wonderful. As I'm doing this, I'm going to be replacing the struts and, like, the axle at the exact same time. That's important to do because you wanna make sure that you just do that in one swoop, because, like, the steering column's literally like a separate fucking item. It's still under the same area, but it's like, for the steering column, it's mostly going to be like tight spaces and like pretty much all up against this firewall, like right where your feet go for the pedals. That's all where the rack and pinion is, and it goes from one side of the wheel to the other side of the wheel. Just make sure that you put the right one in the right spot. And yes, they do have tabs, so make sure that you line up those tabs and you know how they're lined up. That's very important. When you do that, they just slide right in like a glove. When you don't have them lined up perfectly, then it'll be a pain in the ass, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna jam it. It takes forever, pain in the ass. I'm gonna show you guys later. Don't worry about that. I love smoking. Sorry. Yeah, I'm rolling my own tobacco because we have been spending a lot of money on this car. So, a lot of money. So, all in all, it's kind of been interesting, right? So, we bought the car for $1,000, and then basically spent another $5,000 in parts on it. It was supposed to be less, but there's some nice things